So today we're talking about just the operations within a hotel, what it takes to operate a hotel, okay? So on a piece of paper, think about all the jobs, all the different positions in a hotel that it takes to operate a hotel. Give you about 30 seconds to do that. Think of any and all possibilities for positions within a hotel. All right, everyone stand up. Everyone stand up. All right, have a seat if you have only one or two items on your list. Have a seat if you only have one or two items on your list. Okay, good, everyone's standing. Have a seat if you have less than five or less items on your list. Have a seat, 5 or less items. All right, have a seat if you have 10 or less items. All right, we have one left. Excellent. Dean, how many do you have? 14 different positions. Excellent. Good. Okay. So, as you can see, everyone's perception of what it takes to operate a hotel is different. What is one of the first things that y'all thought of? Front desk, right? Why do you think of front desk first?
The first person you see.
The first thing you see. That's the face of the hotel, okay? Oftentimes. What's the second thing most people often think of? Housekeeping, right? Someone to clean the room. And those are pretty much the first two. People think, oh, housekeeping and front office. Those are the only jobs in a hotel, okay? But a hotel is like a small little city. And so what we're going to talk about today is all the different departments that it takes to operate a hotel, okay? So as we go through, I want you to check off on your list which department the things on your list might fall under, okay? So what is the purpose of our hotels?
A place to stay when you're on travel.
Good, a place to stay when you travel. That's the basic primary function of a hotel. The secondary function is we want to make our people money. We want to make our owners money. We want to pay our employees, our team members. We want to, give them, have them give a paycheck so they can go out and spend money. And so that's the purpose of hotels. The primary purpose is for us to provide lodging. The secondary purpose is to make a profit for our owners and also support. Does anybody know the ratio of employees in the hospitality industry to the residents of the city of San Antonio? 1 out of 7, one out of every 7 people. So how many people do we have in here today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's just say it's 28, just because I want to keep it an even number, okay? Multiple of 7. Raise your hand if you work in the hospitality industry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're above the average of San Antonio, right? 6 out of 28. So 1 out of 7 work in the hospitality industry in the city of San Antonio, okay? That is a huge, that's a huge market for jobs. All right. Is this hotel in San Antonio? Yes or no? Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no. Is this hotel in San Antonio? What do you think? We've got to do a yes or no. And it's okay. You're not being graded on this. This is just an exercise. What do you think? Yes or no?
I think so.
All right. This one is yes. The St. Anthony Hotel downtown. It's a luxury property. It's part of the Westin, now Marriott brand. Is this hotel in San Antonio? Yes or no?
Yeah, because you can see the background.
Using our context clues, yes. In the Tower Life building in the back, we have the Drury Plaza Hotel. This is the rooftop pool at the Hotel Contessa. Hotel Contessa. Is this hotel in San Antonio? Yes or no?
No.
Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no. What do you think? Yes, it's the Jury Plaza downtown. It was that hotel that was in the back corner of that previous picture. The Jury Plaza Hotel. This is actually a hotel that was a bank. It was the Alamo Bank and Trust, I think, was the name of the bank. And they've converted it into a hotel. So you can actually see down here, this is where all the bank tellers were, and that's now the front desk. If you've ever seen the movie Blank Check, Disney's Blank Check, this is the bank lobby that he goes into to cash his blank check. And so these are actually movie props. These banners right here were not part of the original building, but they just kept them up after the movie was done. So this is in the Jury Plaza Hotel. This is a historic building that has been converted into a hotel. Is this in San Antonio?
No.
Okay, obviously it is not. That's in Vietnam. I would love to stay in a hotel like this. Would you not?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, that would be absolutely incredible. Okay, so hotels are worldwide. Is this one in San Antonio?
No.
Yes.
Yes, it's the Marriott Plaza Hotel downtown.
Wow.
It used to be a Four Seasons hotel, but now it's part of the Marriott brand. Marriott Plaza Hotel, they have live peacocks that just wander in the courtyard. It's really cool. It's just kind of a fun little, you know, I don't know, randomness, but it's kind of really cool. All right. So, our hotel organizational chart. What is an organizational chart?
Positions.
Okay, so the hierarchy of the different positions. So who is at the very top of our organizational chart? The general manager or the owners, okay? So in this case, we're going to start with the GM. GM stands for general manager, okay? Who is below the general manager? The assistant general manager, AGM. Okay? Our GM and then our AGM. Now, every hotel does not have the same organizational chart. Okay? The organizational chart is unique to that specific property and that specific location. And so, what's below the assistant general manager is all of the department managers, okay, or directors. And so, one of those departments is our rooms division. The other one is, I'm going to do finance. Okay. Another one is HR, human resources. Another one is engineering or maintenance. And we have food and beverage, F&B. We might have, if we're a resort, we might have spa, we might have golf course, we might have, you know, activities, things like that. So we might have different divisions based on the different types of properties that we're at. We might have a purchasing department where we send all of our purchases to for someone to order everything in bulk together. So what do you notice about this right here? The two things we've already talked about that are not up on here yet. We talked about front desk. Is front desk on here? No. Is housekeeping on here? No. Why is that? Because it's within this rooms division. So rooms division now comes down to front desk, or we often call front office, and housekeeping. Also in the rooms division, anything that has to do with the rooms and the guests And so sometimes what we call uniform services, which now the industry is going towards more of a term of guest services. So I'm going to go ahead and correct that. Keep your terminology the same. Our guest services are things like bellman, valet, concierge, all those different ones, okay? And then we also have, within the front desk rooms division, we also have the operators. PBX. And then under each one of these, we have different positions, okay? And so essentially what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this organizational chart, what it takes to operate a hotel. Again, our hotel is like a small little city. We have people in engineering. I think one department that gets overlooked most often is our engineering department, okay? Because people don't really think about it. It's not a really glamorous job. It's more behind the scenes, back of the house. But we live in South Texas. Someone needs to make sure that our AC is working at all times, even in October, okay? And possibly even into November and December. We just never know, okay? We have to make sure that our elevators are working, our escalators are working. We want to make sure that our plumbing is working. The AC units within the rooms, not just the AC of the hotel itself. So all these different things is what engineering takes care of. Human resources. Is that an important department?
Yeah.
Why is that an important department? Good, they listen to the complaints of employees to make sure that we are in a hotel, bless you, in a hotel, just like we have guests, we have our external guests, people that are staying with us. In the HR, they take care of our internal guests, which is basically our employees, our internal customers, I should say. I don't like to use the word customers. I prefer guests because it just sounds better. But our internal customers are our employees. So HR takes care of that. Make sure that we get paid. Make sure we have the benefits that we need. Make sure that we have the training that we need. Yes, Angel.
Going back to the engineering, when I used to deliver pizzas, I think it was Emily Morgan. I went up in the elevator and it was like rattling and stuff. I went downstairs and told them. Sure enough, when I went to deliver the pizza there, 2 days later, the elevator was closed.
It was closed. Good. Excellent. Absolutely. So they're the ones who kind of make sure that has been communicated to make sure that's ready to go before we open it back up for service. Good. Excellent point. Anything else? Food and beverage. Okay, we're not going to get too deep into food and beverage, F&B, but again, based on the hotel. So there's like, I think JW Marriott, the resort out by Stone Oak area, I think they have like 6 or 7 different food and beverage outlets. Okay, an outlet is a different location, different place to eat. So they have a lot of different food and beverage outlets. Some hotels don't have any food and beverage outlets, meaning that we don't sell breakfast. We don't sell, things like that. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. We don't have a restaurant. We might give breakfast in the morning. We might have complimentary breakfast. So that might be one outlet for food and beverage. But we don't necessarily have like a full service. We might have a little shop off to the side of the front desk. You guys have seen those before probably, where you buy a bag of chips or a soda or something. That can be a food and beverage outlet of some sort as well, okay? So we're gonna go through this relatively quickly. The GM is just responsible for making sure the overall operations of the hotel are running smoothly and that the hotel is remaining profitable. So who does the GM report to? Okay, so the area director, if you're part of a corporate hotel, the owners of the hotel, the GM is going to report directly to that person, to those owners, to say, this is what we're doing in the hotel. That GM is hired to manage that property by the owners or by corporate if you're a corporate hotel, then you're going to report to that area manager that's going to oversee your operations as well. Okay. The general manager, if they're the ones that just sit back in their office and they're not really present, they're not walking the property, they're not interacting with the guests, then what is that going to do? What kind of example does that set for the people that are working there?
Why should they?
They're going to do the same thing, right? They're going to ignore the guests. They're not going to worry about it. So as a general manager, you know, a lot of it, you kind of provide that positive energy within the hotel, okay? And a good example for the employees. Yes, Michael.
The owners are also the investors.
Yeah, owners can be investors, absolutely. Yep. So things that a successful GM needs: leadership, attention to detail. You have to follow through. If you say you're going to do something, you've got to be able to follow through with that, okay? And follow up with things. You definitely need people skills, because you're going to work with a lot of different people, both your internal customers of your employees, but also your guests. You're going to interact with those guests as well, okay? The last point I really like is you have to be able to delegate effectively, okay? And delegation is something we talk about in the management leadership course, but what is delegation? What's the general thought behind, what does that word delegate mean? Well, first of all, how many of you never heard the word delegate before? And it's okay if you haven't, raise your hand, be honest, that's what we're here for, to learn, okay? Okay, you've not heard the word delegate. Okay, so, Kinley, what does delegate mean?
It means to be able to tell someone what they need to do, but like in a nice kind of manner where they can do the task without you having to repeat what you do.
Okay, so be able to have, like, assign somebody a task that you don't have to do. A general manager cannot be at the front desk to check every single guest in. Okay, so they have to delegate that. A general manager cannot be, and I mean that's kind of a very simplistic view of it, but people are hired for their specific their skills. Empowerment is kind of a little bit along the lines of delegation. So if a guest is upset, the general manager cannot address every single guest that is upset. So they can empower the employees. They can delegate to them that responsibility to take care of guests up to a certain point. Okay. Eventually, so at some point, the guest might be so upset that you have to get a manager or a supervisor involved. But oftentimes, we can take care of that at that first basic level. Okay. But we have to be able to delegate effectively. One of the things that's important to delegate effectively is you have to know what people's skills are and what their strengths and their weaknesses are. And so you also don't want to overwhelm people. You want to be able to make sure that they're helpful, that you're helpful, that you can give them the tools that they need so they can be successful in the task that you've just assigned to them. Okay? Because a general manager cannot do every single thing they're supposed to do, like everything that is supposed to be done to operate a hotel. They have to delegate that responsibility to their team members. Okay? So the management structure, we kind of just talked about this already in our visual graph of our organizational chart. Human resources, engineering, accounting, sales and marketing is one that we missed on that, and then food and beverage and the rooms division. Okay. Sales and marketing. What does sales and marketing do?
Banquets and such.
So they sell the hotel. Okay. They don't sell the hotel to the average person. They sell to what we call groups. Okay. They sell to groups. So most hotels, a group is on average of 10 nights or more. And if you have banquet space, if you have meeting space, how many of you have ever been to an event or a meeting at a hotel? Okay, in that big giant conference space or whatever, that's what the salespeople do. They sell that space. The marketing people also help to market the hotel in the local area as well. So the executive committee is that first line of all those all those department managers, okay, that we have on that organizational chart. And so they are ones who have been given responsibility by the GM to execute and oversee their departments. And so then once a week, usually at least minimum once a week, but they might meet, once a month. on more specific things, but typically once a week they're going to meet. All those department managers and the GM are going to meet to talk about how the hotel is doing and other goals to make the hotel move the hotel forward. So our rooms division, our front office, reservations, housekeeping, concierge, guest services, security, and communications. All of these are kind of underneath that rooms division area. Each one of these, front office, let's say front office and housekeeping, security, they're all going to have a manager over them as well. So you have the GM, AGM, rooms division director or director of rooms, front office manager, front office supervisor, front desk agent. So all of those people are all part of just the front desk. And then you have executive housekeeper. So the rooms division manager is over the housekeeping as well, and then the executive housekeeper is over the supervisors, the inspectors, the room attendants, and laundry. So you can see this organizational chart gets really, really big and really, really convoluted, okay? But they all have to work together to make the hotel operate. So who can give me an example, someone who's not working in a hotel, I know who you are, of an example of how you think front office and housekeeping can work together? How can the front desk and housekeeping work together? Yes.
Status.
Okay, so updating the room status. So as the room is clean, we want to make sure that the front desk knows that room is clean from the housekeeping, so that way they can sell that room. Good. What else?
When a guest is going to come in later and let them know, hey, this room needs to be ready, and sure everything is prepared.
Good. So if a guest is going to come in later, then we want to make sure that the housekeeping knows that that room needs to be ready to go. Okay. What else? Yes.
Mine kind of follows a part of what she said. Like for example, if like somebody dirtied up their room by accident and they need to clean up immediately, the front desk person can talk to the house.
Good, absolutely. So if we need like an emergency situation that the room is really dirty, it needs to be like the sheets need to be changed, or the bathroom needs to be cleaned, or whatever, then the front desk can communicate to housekeeping so that we can get up there and have somebody service that room. Good, excellent. Okay. The front desk is the focal point. Oftentimes, it's the focal point of the lobby. It's what we call the hub. Okay. It's what the kind of a lot of the information happens at the front desk. What are some things you do at the front desk?
Check in.
Check in. Check out. You ask questions. What kind of questions would you ask at the front desk? Where's a good place to eat? Where's my room? How do I get to my room?
Where can I find the pool?
No. How do I get to the pool? Yeah, absolutely. So you might, when I was a front desk agent at La Quinta, oftentimes I would call for cabs or taxis. I could also help people get set up with Enterprise, so they can get a car rental while they were here, and Enterprise would come to the hotel, pick them up, and take them out to their car. So yeah, absolutely. We might do car services. Now, at what we call a select service hotel, we talk about the different types of hotels, the different levels of service. At a select service hotel, the front desk agent is also the concierge, is also the person that communicates to housekeeping, is also the person that gives directions to food, to attractions and things like that. At a full service hotel, like Joan, where Joan works at a resort, at a full service hotel, you might have a specific concierge, that's what their job is. And at the front desk, your job is to check guests in and check them out. Okay? So the front desk is that focal point, and where all the information goes. All right, so the guest cycle. What is the cycle? It repeats, right? It goes over and over and over again. It repeats. It starts at one place, and then it goes over and over and over and over again. So we have a guest cycle, and the first thing we do in a guest cycle is what? Okay, so for the guest, think about for the guest perspective. What's the first thing that they do?
Check in.
and make a reservation, okay? And so we have our pre-arrival. Sorry, my handwriting's awful. Pre-arrival, and then they go to arrival. Good. And then we go into a state where they're occupying the hotel, occupancy. And then they leave, the departure. And then hopefully that goes back into that pre-arrival stage. Okay? This is a very simplistic version of the guest cycle that's on the next page from the book. Okay, so pre-arrival to arrival to occupancy to departure. 4 steps, 4 stages of our guest cycle. What are some things they do in the pre-arrival stage? What, as you, as a future guest, what are some things you're going to do in the pre-arrival stage? You're going to look at reviews. Good. What else? So not room assignment yet. Pre-arrival is before you even get to the hotel. Did you have something?
Research which hotel is closest.
Okay, yeah. So if you have a specific destination, like let's say you want to go to Six Flags, then you might research and see which hotels are closest to Six Flags. Good. Okay. So I'm gathering all this information, and then your pre-arrival hopefully will then eventually end result of a pre-arrival is the reservation. So you actually make the reservation. Okay. And then all that information from the reservation is transferred back over to the hotel into the property management system, which we'll talk about. Okay. You arrive, you get your room assignment, you go up to your room, you occupy the room, you enjoy some of the amenities, enjoy some food and beverage, you departure, you close out, you check out, and you finalize your bill. Okay. Front office again is the hub, the center of where all the information is in the hotel. General responsibilities for our front desk. We sell and upsell. What is upselling?
It's trying to promote certain items. Like,
Okay.
A higher bill, like you want people to spend more.
Right.
Higher billed items.
Okay. So at the front desk, we have rooms, right? That's what we're selling. We're selling rooms. And so what are some things that, how can we upsell at the front desk, do you think?
Changing rooms, like to like a king suite.
Okay, so going from a standard room to like an upgraded room to like a king suite or a river view versus a city view. Yes, Vincent. The views, okay, absolutely. So the view of our river walk is going to be a different rate than the view of our city on the other side, okay? And so we might have that. We might be able to say, oh, would you like to, if you like, I can get you into a view of the river walk for only $20 more, right? And they're like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to be here, so yeah, I'll be nice to see the river walk. It's Christmas time. I want to look down and see the lights. So we might be able to upsell in that regard. What's the difference between an upsell and an upgrade?
Upgrade is for free.
Upgrade is for free, okay? So if somebody is a member of our rewards program, or if somebody had a bad experience, we might upgrade them as a guest recovery issue. Or if they're a member of our rewards program, we might go ahead and upgrade them if it's available, okay? The upgrade we don't charge for, the upselling we do, okay? At the front desk, we manage and we oversee all of the guests' accounts that are in the hotel at that particular time, okay? The responsibilities of the front desk vary by the hotel. The responsibilities, like we talked about already, is select service. Typically, you wear many hats. Okay, you have many responsibilities versus somebody who's at a full service front desk. Okay. The manager makes sure that the front office is operating smoothly. Okay. We want to make sure that whatever the guests are expecting, that our guest services are meeting those expectations, meeting or exceeding those expectations. Our guest service associate, that's the person who, the terminology is changing a little bit. I used to, refer to bellmen, valet, concierges. Those were all part of that uniformed services. And so now guest service agent in general just associates with anybody who has to do with dealing with the guest face to face. Okay, oftentimes they're the first impression of the hotel. So if you walked into a hotel and the front desk agent is slouching at the front desk, they're sitting there with their arms crossed, glaring at you from across the counter, okay, what impression does that set on the setting the stage for your experience of your hotel? Okay, exactly, right? A little apprehensive. And so we want to make sure that those people that are dealing with the guests one-on-one understand the importance of soft skills, of smiling, of eye contact, of listening and understanding what the guests, so we can, what's the word I'm looking for? We can resolve the issues that the guests have, okay? The night auditor is somebody else at the front desk. They're the person that works overnight. So typically, what are the 3 shifts that we have in a hotel? Okay, so we have AM, PM, and overnight. Our hours for the AM shift are 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Okay. The hours for the PM shift, thank you. What do you think? 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then our overnight, or often called the audit, is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Okay? Hotels never close. We're open 24 hours a day. Hotels never close. Somebody has to be at that front desk at all times. Okay? A lot of people like this overnight shift because they can go to work. They typically run the audit, and it's usually done by 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock at the latest, usually oftentimes. And so from 3 to 7, you have 4 hours to sit there and wait. You can do your homework and get paid to do your homework because you have to stay awake. I've had people, I've worked with people that, well, I didn't work with them very long because they were found asleep on the sofa. Okay, that sofa in the lobby just looks way too tempting. And they walk in, and here we come in the morning. The breakfast person comes in to start sitting up for breakfast, and here's the night audit asleep on the couch and the sofa. Can't do that. Okay, you have to be there at that front desk, and so do things that you can do to keep yourself awake. Although maybe homework isn't the best thing to do to keep yourself awake. But whatever you can do, sometimes that's helpful. Also, the night audit person is the one who compiles all the reports. And so if you're someone who's interested in hotels, the night audit is a great position to understand the inner workings of like the daily reporting of a hotel. And that will help you as you move up. So I encourage you to look at the night audit position. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail into this, but we do look at our occupancy percentage. How many of our rooms are occupied on a daily basis? We look at this on a daily basis, okay? So if we have 100 rooms, we sold 63 last night, what was our occupancy percentage? 63 over 100. I know it's math. I'm not supposed to do math in this class, but we are. Okay, 63 divided by 100 is 0.63. We move that over 2 decimal places and we have 63%. Is that a good percentage or a bad percentage? We don't know. There's no context to that number. If it's spring break and we have 63% percentage, that's a very bad percentage, right? If it's September, middle of September, school is back, and we just have nobody traveling, 63 might be a pretty decent percentage. Okay, so that number is only important when you put it into the context that it applies to. Okay, so there's no way to say that, yes, granted, what is the percentage that we always want to have? Of course we want to have 100% occupancy. That means we're sold out every single night. Is that going to be realistic?
No.
Absolutely not. Okay, so this next one, we have 250 rooms, but we sold only 200. So 200 divided by 250 gives me 0.8. I move that decimal place over, and what do I get? 80%. Okay? 80%. That's our occupancy percentage. We also look at our average daily rate. Okay? We don't sell every single room for the same price. Okay? How many of y'all think that, you know, if you paid $125, then everybody else in that whole hotel paid $125? That's not the case. We don't charge the same rate for every single hotel room. We have different rates. We have government rates. We have corporate rates that were negotiated. So the La Quinta, where I worked, is right next to the HEB corporate headquarters downtown. And so we had an $85 rate. Didn't matter what our rate was normally. We had an $85 rate for anybody that worked for HEB. It could be someone from the corporate office. It could be the person that stocks the shelves overnight at HEB. They bring in their name tag and their most recent pay stub, and they get the room for $85. Okay. We have a variety of different rates. Our rates are not always the same either. What's a period of high demand? A period in San Antonio where hotel rooms are at a high demand.
Fiesta.
Spring break, concerts, fiesta. See? March Madness, yes. Conventions. Okay, so all of these times, hotel rooms are at a premium. And so our rates are going to go up. This year, I don't know if it's ever happened like this before, but this year, the Valero Alamo Bowl, which was designed and developed to help bring San Antonio business, tourism business, between Christmas and New Year's. It was designed for that, to help bring in business. This year, it's on New Year's Eve. The Alamo Bowl game is on New Year's Eve. So now you have hotels that have to figure out what their rate's going to be, because they're going to have the Valero Alamo Bowl and their traditional New Year's Eve guests that are staying downtown for New Year's Eve. Okay? Next year, during Fiesta, we have a major convention coming in. The Craft Brewers Association is coming in during Fiesta. So now we have to, as a hotelier, we have to figure out how are we going to balance our convention group rate as well as our what we call our leisure or transient guest rate. Okay? So our ADR basically takes all the revenue and tells us what our average daily rate is. Okay? Property management system, PMS, is something that I know. Go ahead, get the chuckle out. Our property management system is something that basically brings all of our information together. Okay? It brings all of our reservations. It keeps track of all of our guests' history. Okay? I mean, think about it. I don't know if you realize this or not, but every time you stay at a hotel, they're keeping a track of what you spent at the restaurant. They're keeping track of, not specifically used in specifics, but they're keeping track of what their guests are spending. Every time you use that card key, that key card, to access the swimming pool, the property management system records that. Who opened that door? What time was that door open? And so we can identify, are people using our swimming pool? Are people using our fitness center? Are people using the different amenities we have? So our property management system kind of takes care of all of that. Revenue management, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on this one either, but revenue management is a new and upcoming, or not upcoming, but it's one of the newer fields in hospitality in the hotel side. And it does just that, managing the revenue. And it doesn't look at just the room revenue, it looks at the total revenue of food and beverage. It tells us whether or not we should, accept this group in-house, or if we should go ahead and just keep what balance percentage of business travel versus transient travel. Okay, all those different things our revenue management kind of helps us identify. The 4 basic concepts of revenue management is to sell the right room to the right person on the right day for the right price. Okay, the right room to the right person on the right day for the right price. That's what revenue management does in like 5 seconds. They do a whole lot more than that, and so much such that there is an actual class, an entire 16-week class on revenue management. So if you're hotel management majors, you'll be taking that. Okay, so different types. It sounds hard. No, it's not hard. It's fun. If you like puzzles, if you like understanding things, revenue management is really fun. So we look at the different types of rates, of course. We look at how those are being utilized. This is another statistic that is used. It's called revenue per available room. And this revenue per available room, how many of y'all are culinary arts majors? Keep your hands up. Any baking and pastry arts majors? Keep your hands up. Any restaurant majors? Okay, put your hands down. Any hospitality majors? Any hotel majors? All right, for about 99% of you, this stuff probably has like 0 interest, but it's interesting to know this information and how it relates to because this is one segment. If you're a culinary arts major, you want to know what the average daily rate is people are paying, because you want to know what the occupancy percentages are of the hotels, because that's going to tell you how busy your restaurants are going to be, okay? And so it's important to understand, but these are different statistics that hoteliers are looking at, just like restaurants are looking at statistics like how much the average guest is spending. So we all need to make sure that we kind of have a general understanding. Revenue per available room is something that allows us to compare ourselves, our hotel, to another hotel that has different number of rooms. So if my hotel only has 100 rooms, how can I effectively compare myself to a hotel that has 250 rooms? Okay, and revenue per available room is what does that. I think I added, yes, okay. I'll post an announcement in Canvas, the backstory behind this chart here. But this is just an example of revenue per available room, okay? Real quick. The Business Journal, San Antonio Business Journal, did an article about the top 10 performing hotels in the Eagle Ford Shale area. Anybody not know where Eagle Ford Shale is, that region? It's south of San Antonio. It's where they're doing all the fracking and all the whatever, I don't know, oil and whatever that kind of stuff is, right? So because now all those that area was booming with fracking and different, I don't know if you call it harvesting. You don't call it harvesting. Whatever. This is why I teach hotel management and I don't talk about fracking, okay? So anyways, but because we have all these oil field workers, we now need hotels. And so the hotel area was booming in that area. And so these were the top 10 performing hotels, according to the Business Journal, right? And I actually knew the person who wrote this article. So it was kind of funny, as I was reading it, I was like, yeah, this hotel is the best performing hotel at almost $1.2 million in revenue. So how can we compare this Holiday Inn Express Jordanton? It's only $629,000, okay? And so by revenue, by the dollar amount, which one's performing better? The Instalodge Hotels and Suites, right? But when we take it and we compare it to revenue per available room, the Holiday Inn Express only has 6,440 rooms to sell, okay? They have 70 rooms times each day of the quarter. That's how the total number of rooms they have to sell is 6,044. This hotel, the Instalodge, has 232 rooms every day to sell. And so and in reality, they have 21,000 rooms to sell. So if now you divide that by our revenue per available room, the Holiday Inn Express is averaging $97 per room they sold. And the Insta-Lodge is actually only averaging $55.46. So when it comes to revenue per available room, all of that in a very big nutshell is to be able to compare yourselves with hotels of a different size. So it's not necessarily. I will post an announcement in Canvas. It was one of my discussion posts for one of my graduate courses. So if you really need to go to sleep one night, you can read that and understand this chart a little bit better and where I was coming from. So reservations. How do you make reservations? How do you make reservations? Online. Who do you use online? Expedia, the hotel company. Travelocity. TripAdvisor. Okay? Hotels.com. Do y'all know that like Expedia owns Hotels.com, Trivago, Hotwire, all of those are owned by Expedia. That's why when you like put in the number and then it pops up like 2 more sites, this is what the price is on these 2 sites. It's because it's all the same company. That's what we call OTAs, online travel agents, OTAs, okay? Online travel agents. We don't necessarily like OTAs from the hotel's perspective because if Expedia charges the guest $100, chances are we're paying about a 30% commission to Expedia for that. So the hotel's only going to get $70 versus $100. But if you book direct, like Chelsea, because she's awesome, then the hotel gets all $100. So oftentimes what I like to do is I like to use the search of an OTA, and then when I see the hotel, then I will go to that hotel's website. I do the same thing with my airlines. I'll look for airlines because I mean hotels, I'm pretty, Hilton and Marriott are my 2 brands of hotels. But airlines, I don't care what my airline is. I like to, that's a lie. I do care what my airline is.
You don't want to buy Spirit.
But what I will do is I'll look at an OTA and I'll look at the airline prices, and then I'll go and book directly with that airline. Same thing with the hotels, okay? So everybody put your right hand up. Repeat after me. I, say your name.
I, Brady,
Promise from this day forward to help my hotel friends in the industry
that
I will never use another OTA, and I will tell at least 5 friends about the dangers of using OTAs. Good. Okay, so go home and tell people today about why they should book direct at the hotels instead of using online travel agents. Okay, it really it's seriously think about it. If you get a lot of your bookings from OTAs, you're going to get 30% of your, anywhere from 30 to 35% of your revenue just cut off the top of the board. But who has to deal with the guests? The hotel does. So if something goes wrong, the hotel has to deal with it. Even though they booked from Expedia, even though they booked from Orbitz, we still have to deal with the guests and resolve their complaints. If it's something to do with the hotel. If it's a complaint that's something with the reservation, then they have to deal with that, okay? Communications or PBX, that's just that's the fancy way of saying the operator. So if you call the hotel and say, I need to talk to the sales office or I need to talk to room 202, that operator is going to transfer you, okay? So that's their job within the hotel, usually behind the scenes, the front office. Guest services. We talked about it already, the concierge. Joan came and spoke to us about that. Housekeeping, okay? This is the heart of the hotel. Without housekeepers cleaning our guest rooms, we would have no guest rooms to sell at the front desk. Housekeeping and housekeepers are some of the hardest working, not some of, the hardest work, probably the hardest working department in a hotel. Okay.
Should be respected one too.
Yes. Okay. And they are also the largest because of the number of people it takes to clean all the guest rooms. Okay. This all depends on the hotel, but on average, housekeepers have anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes to clean a hotel room. 25 to 35 minutes to clean a hotel room to make it look like nobody has ever stayed there. So that when you check in, you look like you are the first person. It seems to you like you're the first person. If it is what we call a stayover, somebody who's not checking out, they're just staying over another night, typically they have about 15 minutes to get that room, to make the bed, to clear the trash, to replace the amenities. So housekeepers are very hardworking individuals. The other thing, one of the other positions within housekeeping, we have housekeepers, the room attendants. We have what we call housemen. Okay, and the housemen are people that are responsible for the public spaces, the lobby, the swimming pool, the fitness center, the foyer area, the hallways. Those housemen. The other thing the housemen do is they'll actually restock all of these carts. So overnight, there might be somebody who's putting the towels and putting the sheets on the carts, and then the different closets on the different floor, the different supplies closets on the different floors. And so there's other jobs that are beyond just housekeepers. Yes, sir.
I was a houseman at the Tropicana Parian Hotel.
Yeah.
And we used to have to set up for the conventions and the meetings and turn them down and then set up.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have meeting space, sometimes those housemen are responsible for setting up those and tearing down. Depending on the hotel, you might actually have a banquet staff that does that, but sometimes you'll use those dual purposes. Absolutely. Good comment. Thank you. Okay, so the executive housekeeper is the person who oversees the department. They're the ones who kind of gives all the assignments for the different rooms, for the different housekeepers each day. We talked about public areas. Something that housekeepers do, because they're the ones that are in the rooms on a regular basis, they oftentimes will initiate maintenance work orders. Okay, so then they'll initiate if the plumbing is running, or if the AC is broken. Now, small things like light bulbs that go into a lamp, housekeeping can do that. But if we have light bulbs like these fluorescents that we have above here on the ceiling, housekeepers can't keep those on their carts. And so we put in a maintenance work order for anything that's specialty. If there's a hole in the wall that needs to be repaired, if the TV has fallen off the wall, I don't know, whatever reason, there's a lot of different weird reasons that things happen. The vanity, the vanity maybe has fallen, or everything. What's that? Toilet's running, the sink's not stopping, or it has no hot water, or all these different issues. Housekeepers are going to initiate those work orders, okay? We also have to keep an accurate inventory of our room amenities. What is an amenity that's in the room? What does that mean?
Oh,
So your
water.
soap,
Yeah, okay.
the shampoo.
Conditioners.
I was in a hotel once, they had little mini loofahs because they had body wash instead of soap. And I was like, this is so cool. I mean, it's in a little plastic bag, so obviously it hadn't been used. But I thought that's just really interesting. I've never seen that before. And so, whatever those amenities are, depending on the level of service of the hotel, those amenities can get pretty high end, okay? Or they can be fairly basic as well, okay? Security loss prevention, those are basically our security guards. They can be in-house, or they can be people that we hire from outside of the company. But our security people are basically there walking the property to make sure everything is running smoothly, okay? That people aren't acting a fool, people are behaving appropriately. They are there to protect the assets of the hotel, to make sure that people aren't going to damage the property. And so security manages all of that. The La Quinta, when I was working, not the La Quinta, sorry, the Sheraton Gunther, when I was working, our security were just in suits. They just wore plain suits and a name tag from the hotel. Sometimes security is in like a security uniform. One of the reasons, not one of the reasons, but a reason that I kind of think about when somebody's in a suit versus a security uniform, I associate it with, like, oftentimes you do the right thing when you know you're being watched. So if you see a security officer, chances are, I mean, same thing when you're speeding down the road, on the highway, you're speeding, you see a cop, what do?
Slow down.
You slow down, whether you're speeding or not. Like, you just tap on the brake. It's instinct, right? Oh my gosh, it's a cop, right? So same thing. Oh my gosh. But if somebody is in a suit, you're maybe not going to be. You're going to act more naturally, and then you'll be able to prevent those other things from happening. At least that's kind of how I think about it. Food and beverage. Okay, so the director of food and F&B director. Okay, so they manage all of anything that has to do with the food and beverage department. Okay, anything that has to do with food, including catering and banquets. Stewarding is that division that kind of gathers all of the food, like all the purchase orders, and then orders all that food and then delivers it out to the different outlets. Okay. So food and beverage. The really cool thing about, I think, food and beverage in the hotel side versus restaurants, like a standalone restaurant, is you have a lot of flexibility, especially in the banquets and events side of it. Whereas in a restaurant, you just have your one way of doing things. You have your menu to work off of. In the catering and banquet side, you can get creative. You can do outdoor settings. You can do things that are, indoor with a theme. One day you might be doing barbecue, the next day you might be doing Asian, the next day you might be doing a German menu. So you can get really creative in the banquet side in a hotel, more so than you can in just a standalone restaurant by itself all the time. Okay. So of course our kitchen is overseen by our executive chef. We might have one restaurant, we might have multiple restaurants. We also, in addition to our restaurants, what's another example of a food and beverage outlet in a hotel? The bar, good. What else? Starbucks, a coffee shop, good. What else? We might have a little bakery, donut shop, good. Room service. Okay, our in-room dining, IRD, is what's kind of known as room service, essentially, is our in-room dining. Okay, so those are just basically the different outlets that we have available, different positions we have available to work in the food and beverage side. Stewarding, kind of also known as the purchasing, they're the ones who kind of look at, order all the stuff. They maintain all the different inventories of everything that we have in the food and beverage side. Catering goes along with the banquet side, usually meetings and events. Most hotels that have a banquet, catering meeting side, a sales department also has a catering sales staff. So salespeople will sell it, and the catering people will actually oversee it and make sure it happens appropriately. Okay. 47. Okay, 3 more minutes. No. 8 more minutes. Okay. Catering. So one of the things I want to point out for this one is our BEO, our banquet event order, BEO. If you are in culinary, this is important to know if you're going to work in a hotel. Okay? A banquet event order is essentially all the details about a specific event or a banquet. Okay? So take a look at this. I know it's kind of hard to read, but here we have the date of the event, who the contact is, who the catering services person would be, what the time of the event is, where the event is going to be, what type of function it is. What kind of function is this?
Wedding.
It's the wedding. Good. Okay. So we have a special setup, which there's probably going to be an attached map for that. We expect 87. We're going to guarantee 87. Okay. Then we have our menu and our beverage. So our menu, we have a timeline. Preset salads, bread, and butter. This tells me, you as a culinary person, how to set up this room. That means when the guests come in, that's my alarm. That means when the guest comes in, they're going to have their salad already preset. How many of you have ever been to a function that's like that? What is the purpose of that?
So that you can eat it.
It speeds up service. I don't have to come and drop a salad off at every single place. As soon as people sit down, they can start eating their salad. Okay, so it speeds up service. We can also do, in this case is a wedding, probably wouldn't have preset cake because we're gonna cut the cake. But in a banquet setting for like a corporate event, we can even do preset desserts so that we don't have to worry about serving desserts later. The dessert can already be preset as well, okay? So preset salads, here's our buffet with our timeline. So that way everybody knows what was supposed to be happening and when. And then our beverages, okay? Our hosted premium bar based on consumption. This means I need to keep a tab as a bartender of how many drinks that I serve so I can bill them later. That's what this based on consumption means. I'm only going to bill you based on what you drink. But if it was a full hosted bar, that means I'm probably going to charge like $25 to $30 to $45 a person, and then they can drink whatever they want, also called an open bar. Okay? And so this tells me exactly what's going to be served. This tells my bartender how to set up this order. Okay? Room service and in-room dining is also something that's really popular if you're in a full-service hotel. Select service hotels even are getting this in-room dining and room service by partnering with local restaurants. You might see a menu in there that says room service, but you're at a Hampton Inn. Well, where is Hampton Inn going to be making this? Well, technically, if you call that number, it's going to connect them to, think about like the precursor to Uber Eats, right? They're going to partner with a restaurant nearby. That restaurant's going to provide it and then deliver that to the room of the hotel. Right? Yes.
Is that the same before, like,
Mm-hmm.
have those coupons and everything?
Yeah, we won't talk about pizza flyers. That's not like you spend like a whole lot of time on pizza flyers. But yeah, same thing as if you order like a pizza through Pizza Hut or Domino's and it's delivered to the hotel. It's just the menu is specifically in the hotel room already as a room service menu. Sustainable lodging, we got 2 more slides, so we'll finish this one up. Sustainable lodging. One of the things that I noticed on some of the definitions is that we missed on the sustainability, okay? Sustainability in this particular case, has to deal with environmentalism. And so what are some ways that hotels can lessen their impact on the environment? Yes?
I've noticed, I think it was at Lucky Fest, they told you to be green by reusing some of your towels, and then if you didn't want the towel, you could just drop it on the floor or something like that.
Good. So a towel hanging up is a cue to the housekeeper that you're going to use it again. If it's on the floor, then they're going to replace it. Okay, good. What else? Using paper straws. I read an article today that there was somewhere that was using pasta straws. I was like, that's interesting. Okay, yes.
I noticed also some toilets have like the 2 flush.
The dual flush,
yeah.
okay? So you can use like a little bit less water if it's a liquid, or if it's a solid, you can use a little bit more water to flush. Okay, that's about the nicest, most polite way I can say that. Okay? All right, sustainable lodging, the green movement is becoming more and more popular. Understanding why or how we utilize the resources. There's even a hotel that here in San Antonio, I'm sure multiple, I can't think of the name of it right now, but they reuse, oh my gosh, sorry. They collect rainwater in a cistern, and then they use that rainwater to irrigate and make sure that they water their landscaping. There's even hotels that will take the gray water. Okay, gray water is like from the laundry. And they'll take that gray water and they'll use it to irrigate their landscaping as well. So they'll reuse that water. They don't use fresh water they use all that water that comes out of the laundry. They'll use that to water their landscaping. Okay. In the hospitality and the hotel lodging side, we do have a lot of different types of guests. More and more people are traveling, and the diversity of our workforce is even becoming more and more diverse. We're using technology a lot more. I can check in front to my hotel room. I can select which room I want in the hotel, and then when my room is ready, the property management system tells the housekeeping changes in the property management system. My rooms are ready. I get an email, and then I can go directly to my room, and I'll just up at the front desk and just check in directly with my digital key. and I just go right to my room. So the use of technology is really, really increasing. And that's really all I have for that.